Well, hi. I didn't know I was doing an opening statement, but just a sec. Do you know there's an echo? Do you know it's echoing? Sorry. Yeah, yesterday was, I thought, a big win for us because, I thought that the first 2 days we were pretty timid, and that's not how we've played all year. We've been very aggressive. We've had an attack mindset the entire time. And then yesterday, or on Friday and Saturday, I felt like the people were just not sure what they were doing. They were going into the box with a defensive mindset instead of, getting after that. And I think it leaked on, over to defense, and it just wasn't I didn't feel like our best games. I thought Autumn did an outstanding job. And I thought that Grace and Miranda also threw well on Saturday, and definitely, well enough to win. We just didn't put it together. And then on Sunday, I really liked our aggression. I thought obviously Riley Smith was outstanding. The plays that she made in left field, though, it was incredible. And then also to come up with the key RBI to be ultimately the game winner. I just thought she was great. So it was a good win for us. Hopefully we can take that momentum into this week. It's a tough week, having to play those two teams back to back, and always, the in-state rivalry is always very difficult, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time. The way we prepare and everything. So I'm hoping that we can take that momentum into tomorrow's game.
All right, so now to go to questions. If you have one, you can put it in the chat, or you can just raise your hand. Both are fine. And we'll start as soon as we have one. John Wong.
Hey, Rachel, welcome back. You mentioned at the beginning of the season how important it was to get off to a good start while also getting experience for some of your players. Would you say mission accomplished? How do you view how the team got out of the gate quickly?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we got out of the gate quickly. We, being able to roll off so many wins in a row was a big deal because, I tell the team all the time, you're trying to beat a lot of things here. You're trying to defeat COVID. You're trying to win in the SEC. And then ultimately it's always a deep run in the postseason for us. And so to be able to put all those wins together was great. We were able to get some key experience for our team because as a reminder, I know that, only Mallory Payton in the infield was returning to her normal position. And so, I thought it was key that Erin Koffel got a lot of good looks and has done a really good job. And it showed this weekend. I thought she played an outstanding shortstop for us, which was a pleasant surprise. Somebody had mentioned this to me. I hadn't thought about it. My entire time at Kentucky, I've never had a true freshman at shortstop. So, last year we, Emmy Blaine got there, but with the shortened season, that was less than ideal. And she was kind of split in time with Lauren. And so that was a big deal. And she definitely showed out this weekend. I thought she played really well. The other people that needed experience is our lineup. You're looking at, the other than Kowalik, the majority of our lineup in Peyton and LJ. So we only have 3 returners in the lineup. So to be able to get those at bats comfortable in the box, all that was a big deal. And I think ultimately the confidence they gained from that is why we were able to even come together and win on Sunday. So I thought that everything that we put together early was big for us now.
Keith Farmer.
No.
Okay, now can you hear me? All right, just 2 quick ones. The first one, just the feeling of actually being at home finally and playing at the home plate.
Yeah, I don't know. What have we played? 20 games? I don't know what it is. 22 games. I mean, 22 games on the road is hard. It's hard for so many reasons, and we do it frequently, but it's physically fatiguing. It's mentally draining. The turnaround time is nuts. Like you come home on a Sunday. Fortunately, we were able to deadhead buses, but you don't get your clothes back and everything till Monday. So essentially you have one day to do your laundry and do everything so that because the bus deadheads again on Wednesday and goes to wherever we're going. So you've got that going on. Then you have schoolwork, and with Zoom and stuff, it's funny. Zoom is great, I guess, for class because we've been able to stay in school. But the one thing that is different is when we used to go on the road, they, you know, they had all their work done early or late. They figured out when to get it done. But when you're on the road, you were just studying. Well, now they're studying and they're taking classes and they're having tutors on Zoom and stuff like that. So it's such an incredible rat race for all the players. So it'll be nice to get home, stay in your own bed. You don't have 24 hours to turn around your clothes and everything like that. And you're able to, you know, rest. Also, just the recovery piece of it all. We have an outstanding athletic trainer. She does a good job. And just to have your modalities and stuff here, you know, for someone like Autumn Humes to throw so many innings, it's going to be important that she recovers, even, you know, to have her ready for a midweek. So all of that stuff is incredibly important. And then, you know, I love the Big Blue Nation. You know, it's a COVID year, so it's crazy, but you know, we get an outstanding show out, especially for weekend games. And so I'm looking forward to, you know, there's people that have been here for the whole 14 years I've been here, and I love seeing them in the stands, even though we don't interact much. So it'll be nice to see a few of them who are able to make it out there and, you know, just to get rolling again to a sense of normalcy.
And then you touched on this, but the in-state schools, I mean, it starts with Eastern, but what does make that so difficult? Just because they're so geeked up trying to beat, you know, UK?
Well, you know, there's a few things. They're good. I mean, that's the, you know, in softball, the state of Kentucky, it's kind of a hidden gem. Like Eastern always does incredibly well in their conference. Western always does well in their conference. Louisville, obviously, great team. You know, and then you have us. So those are the forefront. You know, the other schools are doing well. You know, Murray, we don't get to see often. They also do a really great job in the sport of softball. But so they're good. And then, you know, for us, it's one of the few Power 5 games that they play. So
hey,
they get,
I'm on a Zoom call, but I'm going to need you to reschedule us tomorrow. Sorry.
Bye. So, was that David Boyd?
That was David Baker.
Oh, David. Oh, was it real? Anyway, okay. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so what happened? They're good. You know, they win, they get amped up because we're one of the few Power 5 schools on their schedule. So they put all their energy and everything into just a few moments. And so when our team does it, as much as you tell them, hey, here's the deal, you know, these are outstanding players that are going to be in the moment. And they literally, you know, you've got a target on your back this big. They're thinking about, hey, we got Alabama coming in 2 weeks. I can't wait for it. I'm like 2 weeks is an eternity, right? And so I think that all plays a part, but I can't say enough. I do not think that as athletes, they all get enough credit. They're good. You know, several of them could be on our team. They're people that we have recruited in the past, things like that. So that's what makes it tough. And I love softball in the state of Kentucky. We have great coaching. You know, we play well, and usually a lot of us end up in the postseason.
Dick Gabriel.
You kind of alluded as to why, but could you expand on that a little bit and maybe why that was and what they learned from that, what they'll take into the rest of the season, especially more conference games?
Well, you know, when we were rolling out all those wins, you're getting a ton of confidence, you know, and you tell people, hey, don't look at the result, look at the process. You know, we beat that drum as coaches, right? But let's be realistic. Everybody's looking at the final score and they're looking at, hey, look at me, here's a highlight. You know, everybody's looking at that stuff. And the cool thing is, though, you're gaining confidence the entire time that's going. But when you don't play the schedule that we normally play. So normally we go out and we, you know, play a couple Pac-12 teams. We might face a Big Ten team, you know, things like that. And in those games, you're challenged a little bit differently just because those people are used to that strength of schedule. And when you get challenged, sometimes you falter. And it's in those moments in the preseason that you really learn. And that's what gets you prepared for SEC play. And so fortunately, we were gaining a ton of confidence. The unfortunate part is, you know, we had moments where we were really challenged by the other teams, but we had too many other moments where, you know, we didn't have to have 100% mental focus in the moment and really hammer the process and things like that, because we were getting away with things that you just do not get away with in SEC play. So anyway, I came out, we started great. You know, we started both of our games, you know, getting the first run, but then as people started to strike out, which they weren't used to, and they started to get a little timid, and the preparation and the game planning of the coaching staffs of SEC teams are awesome. And so, the holes in their swings are getting a little bit exploited. And when that happens, their confidence started to shrink down a little bit. And then instead of just reprocessing and taking a different approach, they just got a little careful and really tried hard to see the ball and really tried hard to make contact. And anytime you do that, I don't care what sport it is, you're going to fail. And so I think the thing that they did better with on Sunday is they played their game. They went out and we always talk about, you want to give everyone a show, right? That's why you have this beautiful stadium. It's for, the fans and the friends and the parents and all that. And even on TV, even though we don't have people in the stands, there's a ton of people watching softball games right now on TV. And so it's important that you just relax, you play your game, and you give everybody a show, because that's why you're here, right? And that's why we're on TV, is to give a show. And I thought that for the most part, we did a much better job with that. I thought, obviously Riley Smith gave a show, Grace Ballman gave a show. Offensively, we did a better job. We still took our strikeouts, which I wasn't keen on, but we made much better contact more often, which is what we've been doing all year. And so I thought that, we started to get back to our confident self and aggressive and just playing the game the way we know how to play it.
And to follow up on K-Man's question about playing other teams in the state, when you were at Western Kentucky, what do you remember about playing against Kentucky, how your kids felt about it and things like that?
Well, it's funny. As a coach, I didn't look at it any differently than I looked at it as if we were playing, an in-conference team. But the players, on the other hand, they know the difference. I remember when I first got hired at Western, I will never forget this as long as I live. I go to the first practice and, a couple of girls are wearing a Louisville t-shirt and a couple of girls are wearing a Kentucky t-shirt. And I'm like, what are you doing? You are Western Kentucky University. And so first thing I did was, run a camp or whatever and buy the team t-shirts so we could have matching clothes. Like, you got to get rid of that, right? And so, you grow up watching football, you grow up watching Kentucky football, Kentucky basketball, I'm in that other school, Louisville, you watch them too a little bit. And so anyway, what happens is you grow up thinking about that. So that's the team that's the team you identify with. And that's the team that, what a huge win that would be, right? The other thing that happens is, now we don't have goals like goal number 1, beat Florida, goal number 2. I think those are bad goals, but I can't tell you. One time we had to go into a team's locker room to change after the game. And, people forget to like erase things on their whiteboard. And so they had their goals, their top 10 goals. And one of them was, beat Kentucky was on their top 10 list. I mean, those things never make our top 10 list. It's not something that we look towards, we're thinking about other things. So that is on the forefront of your mind the entire time, when you're in-state rival. And that's not necessarily on ours, because, we're focusing on other stuff, because we know we'll just get into a 3-game series against a top 10 team and get pummeled if we don't have our mindset in the right spot. It's really easy to dial up energy once, very hard to dial up your energy 24 times in a season.
John Wong.
Rachel, you had a couple of critical errors during the weekend series, and I didn't know what your take was on that, and what did you tell the team afterwards in regard to those?
Well, defense is one of those things. I mean, I pride myself on our pitching and our defense historically. We've become a much better offensive team, but you can't let your defense falter. So obviously, I think those 2 defensive miscues were the difference in game 1 and game 2. As tentative as I thought we played, we still could have won those games. And I mean, but I don't like to harp on errors. I just talk about we need to make plays. I mean, we always focus on what we need to do, not necessarily what we're doing wrong. I mean, everyone in the park knew that the ground ball to second base that went between our legs was crucial, and nobody would feel worse about it than the player. And I think the worst thing that you can do is hammer a player for that stuff, as long as they're trying hard. If they're being lazy or just not into the moment, then you can kind of get on them. But, for us, we talked about the defensive miscues, and we discussed, hey, listen, defense is something you can continue to get better at. We've been making miscues all year. That's something that we have to get better at. And we have gotten better, shockingly. If you wouldn't have known that when you saw those miscues, but we're making a lot fewer players are playing a lot better. And so I see that steadily getting better. And so we're going to keep beating that drum. And in order for us to be deep in the postseason, though, we absolutely positively have to clean that up. You cannot give those teams those opportunities. If your pitcher makes a pitch, keeps the ball in the infield. It's up to your defense to make the play. Absolutely.
And one other thing, your pitching seems to be such a strength this year. What did you learn about the pitching staff that maybe will allow you to be a little bit more creative down the line in terms of rotations and strategy and so forth?
Well, I'll tell you, I was really impressed with Miranda Stoddard. I know she didn't get a start, but she came into 2 incredibly crucial situations and really shut the other team down. And that was the first time Miranda's ever been in that scenario for us in the Kentucky uniform. So even though she's a sophomore, she didn't get a lot of pitching time last year because of, everything. And so for her to be able to go into the key spot in game 2 and really shut them down and give us a chance to win, I thought that showed a lot to her toughness. Did the same thing on Sunday. She came into a key inning and shut them down. Now, granted, Riley Smith made an unbelievable play where she, got the put out in left field and then the assist to first base. I mean, that was crazy. But I was really impressed that Miranda, how she handled the pressure. I thought she did great. Humes' stamina, I thought that was really good. That's something the pitchers don't typically have at the beginning of the year. And one of the things that we've lost because of the fact that we've been shut out of school so many months is they lost about 3 months of pitching time, which from a conditioning standpoint is huge. And so for Humes to show that stamina, I thought really speaks a lot to her self-discipline. I think the other thing I was so impressed about is the thing we continue to work on with our bullpen is that each pitch has a purpose. Like, what are you trying to do? Like in the past, I felt like Ballman and Humes just went in there and pitched great pitches. And obviously they understand counts and stuff like that, but they're a lot more intentional about how they want the ball to break, where they want the ball to break. And they're very good about making adjustments from batter to batter. And their mentality has been outstanding this year. And I thought they did great. We didn't get a ton of strikeouts, but what they did do is they kept Florida's awesome offense down by not allowing them to make hard contact. And I don't know that would have happened a year ago.
Anybody have anything else? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it very much. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Stay on.